Yo guys, what's going on and welcome back to a brand new video on Hijomeatman News, where today we're going to be taking a little look at the first day in Sepang, a little roundup if you like of what happened over in Malaysia this morning. I apologise that this video is a bit later than I would like to get it up, but I've had problems outside of the YouTube with me car basically, so I've had to sort that out, but we've finally got it up and yeah, it was normal business resumed really for Repsol Honda and Marc Marquez, even though he's only 70% fit after that left shoulder operation that he had in the winter to fix that shoulder that kept dislocating throughout the 2018 season. Marc Marquez was back on top, 70% fit, and is 2/10 in front of the leading Suzuki, who obviously, if you you don't know or remember, they've got no concessions this year, and Rins is picking up where he left off as well. Obviously Valencia, the final race in the season in the wet, he was at the front, he was running very, very well, but he's second position, which is pretty good going for Alex Rins. But he did have a small crash though. I think it was turn 4 the Spaniard tipped off at towards the end of the session, which wasn't too good for him. Just going back to Marquez as well briefly, he only completed 29 laps, as obviously you don't want to put too much strain on that shoulder. It's been a long road to recovery for Marc Marquez, so yeah, to put strain on that shoulder wouldn't be a good idea at this early stage of the 2019 testing, because obviously we go to Qatar for another test in a couple of weeks' time. In third position, in a pretty good result really, after 63 laps for Maverick Vinales. He was third with the Monster Energy Yamaha bike, and pretty nice bike. I think you would have already seen it in this video. I've got a load of random photos in the background in no particular order. Pretty good result for Maverick Vinales, back inside the top 3. Feeling like the Yamaha is back. Both of the comments made by Valentino Rossi and Maverick Vinales are positive, so potentially Yamaha could be back on top, although last year at Sepang, they was 1-2, I think, on the third day, or the second or third day, they were 1-2. So we don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see when it comes to Qatar, and then obviously throughout the season. In fourth position, and a very, very shock result after obviously breaking his leg quite badly in Silverstone in 2018, is Tito Rabat on the Reale Avintia Racing Ducati. A 1:59.983 for Tito, just 3/10 off Marc Marquez, and only 46 thousandths of a second behind Maverick Vinales. So very good stuff for Tito Rabat, and that was on his penultimate lap of the test. So good stuff for Rabat. He was ahead of Petrucci, so top Ducati for Tito Rabat, with Valentino Rossi in 6th position. And like I said earlier, he feels like he's got his bike back. He feels like he's back, and potentially he could go for the championship this year. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. There's a lot of riders who could be winning races, who could be in the championship fight. In 7th position was the fastest man at the Jerez test, Takaki Nakagami. He's got the 2018 Honda, whereas Cal Crutchlow has a 2019 Honda. And Takaki Nakagami, he says he's had no upgrades to the bike in day 1, whether or not upgrades will be coming in day 2 and 3. But Takaki's main task, and obviously LCR Honda Idemitsu's main task, is to get him and the bike back up to speed and find out what level they're at to then go forward from there. In 8th position, and a little bit low for Andrea Dovizioso, I'd say, but Dovi ended the first day in 8th place. Now, Ducati, they brought all their stuff at Valencia. They brought a lot of stuff over to the Valencia test, and they've kind of gone to Sepang with hardly anything different really compared to what we saw back in Valencia. So Ducati, I guess, are still working through the programs that maybe they didn't get to complete, or they want more data from the Valencia test, just going through there with the new parts. There will be some new parts coming out though through day 2 and day 3. In 9th position was Stefan Bradl, who's obviously Honda's test rider. He's replacing Jorge Lorenzo for these 3-day tests, who's recovering from the skateboard injury. And rounding out the top 10 is KTM's Pol Espargaro, who also had a crash and pretty much destroyed the new RC16 KTM. The Austrian factory brought 17 kilograms of upgrades for that bike, so a lot of upgrades coming over the next couple of days from Pol Espargaro. Another man who had a fall, and he was just outside the top 11, was Jack Miller. He had a crash, but he says he's feeling good. The GP19 is feeling good, but he couldn't go for that time at the end because of the crash, so that left him down in 11th on the timesheets. Franco Morbidelli on the Petronas Yamaha SRT bike, 2019 bike for him, as Fabio Quartararo's got a 2019 bike as well now. That got changed a couple of minutes ago. Morbidelli in 12th position. Good stuff for him. Good start on that Petronas Yamaha bike. And Aleix Espargaro was just behind him in 12th and 13th position. Mixed reviews from Aleix. In the interview with MotoGP, he says that happy is not a word that you'd say when you're outside the top 10. And there's still a long way to go for Aprilia. However, in another article, he said that he's happy with Aprilia and he feels like they've made progress, which every rider said that the bike is nicer to ride in that. However, whether or not that is going to result in getting better results and on paper it's going to be better for the Italian manufacturer, we'll have to wait and see. But 13th position with Cal Crutchlow behind him. Now the Brit has had a very interesting couple of weeks because he obviously broke his ankle back in Phillip Island in FP2 at turn 1. Broke his ankle in 17 places. He's got a kilogram of metal in that ankle. The ankle is massive and he basically can't fit it in his boot. So he's riding in pretty discomfort situations. 14th place, just 1 second off Marc Marquez's top time. I'd say that was a pretty good result for Cal Crutchlow. Rounding out the top 15 is the rookie Francesco Bagnaia on the Alma Pramac bike with a 2 minutes 0.694 for him, and he's also just over a second off Marc Marquez's time, so pretty good going for him. And then behind him in 16th place is another rookie, Miguel Oliveira, who's getting to grips with the Tech 3 KTM bike, a 2 minutes 0.9 for him, so inside that 2 minute barrier, which I think he'll be quite happy with for the first day. In 17th position was Yamaha Test Rider 1, which was between Nagasuga and Nazane. Obviously, Nazane was Folger's little replacement rider a couple of years ago at Japan, and obviously he's back doing the testing stint for Yamaha with Fabio Quartararo just behind him, who I mentioned earlier was originally going to be riding an 18 bike, but he's now been moved over to a 19 bike. So Quartararo on the 2019 bike. Good stuff for him. Mika Kallio on the Red Bull KTM factory test bike was in 19th position, but obviously we don't know what Kallio was doing. We don't know if he was testing anything or if he was going for lap time or not. Obviously, he only did 20 laps and his best lap come on his 4th lap, 2 minute 10. So I would say he was doing more little bits and bobs testing. Little bits and bobs for the KTM team. In 20th position, and very disappointing to be slower than obviously Miguel Oliveira, who's only on his 5th day on that bike, is Johan Zarco, the Red Bull KTM factory rider. 2 minutes 1.1, 1.5 seconds exactly off Marc Marquez's time. It's not exactly where you want to be when you've only got 5 or 6 more days of testing before the season kicks off. Zarco doing 61 laps today with Andrea Iannone behind him in 21st. So 20th and 21st positions, 2 big names. Now, Andrea Iannone lost a lot of track time. He only completed 36 laps today because he crashed on the opening stint and apparently destroyed the bike. So Andrea Iannone had a slow start to the Sepang test and lost a lot of track time, and that kind of left him down in 21st position. Sylvain Guintoli on the test team was between Iannone and Johan Mir. The rookie Johan Mir was down in 23rd place as he was just getting up to speed again with a MotoGP bike and getting back in the groove, and obviously learning Sepang on a MotoGP bike because he obviously hasn't rode the Suzuki around Sepang. Karel Abraham, a little kind of quiet name, a guy who's kind of gone under the radar these last couple of weeks. He's been quite quiet on the second Reality Vintia bike. He's down in 24th position with Test 2 Yamaha just behind him, which we believe was Jonas Folger. And then rounding out the field is Javier Sairin, who is having an absolute nightmare on that KTM. He cannot get to grips with the KTM at all. He's down in 26th position and completing the field. Bradley Smith also went out, but he didn't set an actual time. He was out on Aleix Espargaro's 41 Aprilia. And then also to Takuya Tsuda, the Suzuki test rider. He also sat this day out as he was recovering from the 3-day shakedown test. So that's the classification then after the first test. A little bit of information coming in. I don't want to kind of overload it with information because we are doing the Let's Talk where we will go more in depth with the things that we've found. So Make sure you stick around for that. If you guys enjoyed this little video, hit the like and hit subscribe. And we'll see you guys tomorrow for day 2 roundup. Coming a little bit earlier than, hopefully a bit earlier than what this one was today. So until then, thank you for watching and goodbye.